Hello and welcome back to our channel Education Arena. So today we're going to read about alcohol and phenol. This is the second most important topic in organic chemistry, particularly alcohol. Most of the questions, even in the objective and in the subjective as well, these chapters cover most of the questions there. So let's begin with alcohol first of all. So alcohol is represented as RH. If you remember, the haloalkane was RX. It means an alkyl group was there, and then X means any halogen. So it was known as haloalkane. But an alcohol and alkyl group is there, and then OH is there, not H. Sorry, OH is there. So its general representation is ROH. Here OH means ol. It's written as ol. Like this halogen is written as halo. Like if there is suppose CH3, CH2, Cl, then it is known as chloroethane, isn't it? So this halo term is there. Similarly, for this alcohol, ol term is there. For example, if the compound is CH3 CH2OH, then it is represented as ethyl alcohol simply, or simply it is known as ethanol. So this OL is added. Okay, this nomenclature we'll be doing. First of all, let's see what is an alcohol. So alcohol, basically it's the hydroxy derivative of hydrogen. It means this is a simple hydrocarbon, or simply we can say this is a simple alkane. From here, if you remove this hydrogen and add OH, then the group will be formed ROH, and this is known as alcohol. Its example can be CH3OH. CH3 means alkyl group, then CH3CH2OH. Now before going on to the nomenclature, we first see the classification of the alcohol. Though this question is not asked, but this classification and the nomenclature is very important to understand. So there are different bases for classification of the alcohol. So the first basis is like, if you classify on the basis of number of carbons. So remember, you do not need to mug up all this on the basis of this, on the basis of this. This is just for information, and sometimes this question, related question, can be asked. Okay, so I'm telling you just to make you understand. So on the basis of number of carbons, suppose this is CH3 CH2OH, then this is 1 degree alcohol. Why 1 degree? Because this OH group is added to 1 degree carbon, similar to the haloalkane. If you remember, there was classification 1 degree haloalkane, 2 degree haloalkane, and the basis was that it is added to 1 degree carbon, or 2 degree carbon, or 3 degree carbon. So here this hydroxy group OH, it is added to 1 degree carbon, so it is 1 degree alcohol. Then we have 2 degree alcohol. So basically it's not number of carbon, it is nature of carbon. If you, to be precise, it's the nature of carbon. Like it is 1 degree carbon, so then it can be 2 degree alcohol. 2 degree means simple, it is added to 2 degree carbon, so it can be like this. Another CH2 CH3 group is added here. So see, carbon is attached to 2 more carbon atoms, so this is 2 degree carbon. Or if you want to represent, it can be in this way: CH3 CH3 and OH. Even this is 2 degree alcohol. Then there can be 3 degree alcohol. So simply 3 degree means attached to 3 other carbon atoms. So this OH is attached to a carbon, which is further attached to 3 more carbons. So this is a 3 degree carbon, and that's the reason this is known as 3 degree alcohol. Then we can have another basis of classification as number of hydroxyl groups attached. Like suppose this is normal case, CH3 CH2OH, OH, and this is the normal case. But sometimes it can be in this way: CH3 CH2, okay, not CH2 OH OH. So 2 hydroxyl groups are there. So this is dihydric, this is monohydric, and if you remember, this is what type of dihydric? This is known as vicinal dihydric, because it is attached to 2 other carbon atoms. Had it been in this way, CH3 CH2, not CH2, if 2 is attached, then 1 carbon, 1 hydrogen is not there. So If this type of dihydric is there, then it is gem dihydric. Okay, and then there can be trihydric like CH2, CH2, and OH is there, OH is there, OH is there. So 3 OH. So this is known as trihydric. And this compound is very important, known as glycerol. Okay, we'll read about this glycerol in the nomenclature. So these were on the basis of number of hydroxyl groups. Then there can be on the basis of alkyl or aryl groups attached. How? See, suppose CH3OH or simply CH2OH. So these are aliphatic alcohol, because to this OH group an aliphatic compound is added, aliphatic group is added, alkyl group is added. But in place of this alkyl group, suppose this benzene ring or simply aryl group, we call this aryl group is added, then this is known as aromatic alcohol. Okay, so this is aliphatic alcohol because an alkyl group is attached. It means it is attached to an aliphatic carbon chain. This is aliphatic carbon chain, and this OH is attached to aliphatic carbon chain or alkyl group. Here it is attached to aromatic hydrocarbon or simply aryl group. Like this can be the case, or sometimes this can be the case. CH2OH. Even in this case it is an aromatic alcohol, like carbon is there and then OH is there. So if you remember the naming, I'll teach you the naming right now, but for a glance, this is known as phenol. If you remember, this is phenol, and this is known as benzyl alcohol. If you remember, like any of the compound CH2 and then anything as added, then it is known as benzyl, and whatever is added, suppose Cl is added, then benzyl chloride, Br is added, then benzyl bromide. Similarly here benzene OH is added, so benzyl alcohol. I taught you about this in haloalkanes, like benzene ring and then CH2 is there and then anything added, then benzyl. We use the term benzyl. Okay, so for now it is not important, I just told you for information. Okay, so the question which is asked from this chapter, the first important question from which the marks can be imbibed is nomenclature. Now the nomenclature of alcohol, it is very important and much more important than the nomenclature of the haloalkanes. So you practice on just skip away the nomenclature of haloalkanes, but never ever skip the nomenclature of alcohols, because almost this is a kind of fixed question. Because even if directly the nomenclature is not asked in examination, the questions might be asked in this way, like write the preparation of tertiary butyl alcohol, and then you won't know what is tertiary butyl alcohol. So nomenclature is very important. So let's start from the basics. How will you name an alcohol? So suppose there is an ethane. What is ethane? CH3 CH3, yeah. So this is ethane. Alcohol is what? We remove one hydrogen and add OH. So this is ethyl. Now ethyl group. What is ethyl? I told you in my previous video that ethyl means removal of one hydrogen from ethane. Alkyl means removal of one hydrogen from alkane. That means ethyl is one hydrogen removed from ethane, and OH is added. OH means alcohol, so it is ethyl alcohol. And remember, this is not the IUPAC naming, this is just a common name. So in the nomenclature of alcohol, we use this term alcohol in the common naming system, and we use the term OL in the IUPAC naming system. How? See, we know this is ethane, so this is ethanol. Okay, so this is ethanol for IUPAC. In IUPAC we use the term OL at the ending, and here we use the term alcohol at the ending. So whenever you name it according to IUPAC, you name like this. Whatever is the alkane added, you remove this E and add OL. Suppose here, see, this is the alkane is ethane, so you remove this E and add OL. So this is the common naming, this is the IUPAC naming system. And for common naming, simply you write the alkyl group and then the alcohol. So for common naming, alkyl group plus alcohol. So these were the basics. Now let's go on to the important nomenclatures that might be asked. Okay, so let's begin from this CH3, CH, CH3, CH3, OH. So we need to name this compound. So first of all, we see the longest carbon chain. We consider the longest carbon chain in such a way that this functional group OH, it falls in the least position. So 1, 2, 3, 4. If you would do from the here 1, 2, 3, 4, then it would fall in third position. If you would do from here 1, 2, 3, 4, again it would fall in third position. So we did from this side, so it falls in the least position. So 1, 2, 3, 4. Now see, if this is the main carbon chain, this will act as a substituent or side chain. So this side chain is of methyl, which is in third position. So 3-methyl. Now see the common, see the IUPAC naming, how we do. 3-methyl. Now 4, so butane. And we know that we need to remove E because this is IUPAC. So butane, second position, 2-ol. So in this way we name according to IUPAC. We do not name this here. Suppose if we write this here, like in haloalkanes, how we were doing. Suppose in this place of OH there would be chlorine. So how would we name? 1, 2, 3, 4. So it would be 2-chloro, 3-methyl, and this butane. So this group we have written in first, but here why we wrote here? Now just use a common sense. If we write this OL here, what would be the name? Like 2-ol, 3-methyl, butane. That's not a logical name. So we do not write this here 2-ol in front. We write at last 3-methyl, butane, 2-ol. Okay, 2-ol because ol is in, it means alcohol is in second position. So this is the way of naming alcohol, and because of these ways and some more tricks are there, I'll tell you those tricks. Though because of those tricks and confusions, this nomenclature becomes very complex. An alcohol. So let's go to another compound. Like this was a simple monohydric compound. It means only one OL group was there. It means one alcohol group was there. But sometimes this can be the case, like 2 alcohol groups. So in this way, in this case, you count the longest carbon chain from any of the side, it will still remain the same. So let's do 1, 2. So it will be, this is ethane. So ethane, no any side chain or no any substituents or no any naming, directly ethane. Now see, in one position and in two position there is. So 1, 2 diol, because 2 alcohol, so diol. Similarly, if 3 would be there, CH2OH, CHOH, CH2OH, then it would be 1, 2, 3. See, it is propane for instance. This is 1, 2, 3 propane. 1, 2, 3 triol. So this will be the name. The common name of this is glycerol, which is very important to be remembered. Glycerol. And simply this thing we learned here, I'll tell you about the common names of all these things. But first of all, we're just doing the basics. So now let's begin from the beginning. Like let's begin from the first member. This is the first member, CH3OH. Methyl is there. Methyl is always the first member. So let's write the common name, let's write the IUPAC name, and that will be the perfect practice here. Begin from the IUPAC name, CH3OH. How do we name according to IUPAC name? We write methanol, we use OL, and in common system we use alcohol. So methyl alcohol. According to common naming system, this is methyl alcohol, the structural formula, but according to IUPAC name it is methanol. Okay, then let's go to the second member. This is CH3CH2OH. so this is ethyl alcohol because ethyl group is there, ethyl alcohol, or according to IUPAC name simply ethanol. Now I told you that we mention the number of the alcohol there, like we mentioned the number of position, like here it was in second position, so 2-ol. So even here we are mentioning the number, like ethane 1-ol because it is in one position, but we usually do not write 1, so directly we have written ethanol. Then we can have this CH3 CH2 CH2OH. So this is propyl alcohol, or simply propane, or you can write propane 1-ol or simply propanol, anything. But now the complexity begins from here. This is propyl alcohol, 3 carbon, and the 3 carbon molecule can have isomers. So the isomers of this are present, and according to those isomers there are different namings. So first I'll tell you the namings, and then I'll teach you the isomerism. So see, one isomer is this way, CH3OH. Like this OH group is present here. Basically the thing is the same, only the position of this OH group is changed. This is called position isomer. I'll teach you about this after this nomenclature, but for now just remember that this is an isomer of this, because see, you can see the same thing. It is propane, but only the OH group has different position. So this is known as isopropyl alcohol, because this is an isomer of this propyl alcohol. So it is known as isopropyl alcohol according to common naming. Here the common naming is only difficult. The IUPAC naming is very easy, because see, according to IUPAC naming you just count the longest carbon chain, 1 2 3. So this is in second position. Even from here it will come in second position. So 1 2 3, we know that it is propane, and it is in second position. So propane 2-ol. So this is propane 1-ol, this is propane 2-ol. So common naming is only difficult. IUPAC naming is very easy. Now this is one isomer, and then sometimes it can be in this way, CH3CH, CH2OH, CH3. Okay, before this we leave this right now. First, simple butyl alcohol. See, propyl finished, and then butyl will come, 4 carbons, so CH3, CH2, CH2, CH2OH. So normally this is known as butyl alcohol, or simply butanol, or butan 1-ol, anything. Now here it can be in this way, CH3, CH2, CH2 here, CH2OH. So it can be in this way. Again here you can see this is also a type of isomer of this. It is an isomer of this. This is position isomer, and this is known as chain isomer. I'll teach you about the chain isomer, position isomer, functional isomers. For now you just see this is a type of isomer. Basically the thing is the same, only the position of one CH2 is changed. So it is known as isobutyl alcohol. Okay, isobutyl alcohol. Or now IUPAC naming is very simple. You just name according to this. It will begin from here, 1 2 3. It is a side chain here, so 2-methyl propane, 1 2 3, 3 carbon propane. It is in one position, propane 1-ol or propanol. So IUPAC naming is simple. Now it can have more isomers. Like sometimes it can be in this way, CH3, CH, CH2, CH3, OH. Now here you can see this OH is attached to a secondary carbon. Like see, it is attached to this carbon, where one carbon, another carbon. So this is a secondary carbon. So it is attached to secondary carbon. So it is known as secondary butyl alcohol. Now why it is known as secondary butyl alcohol? Why not isobutyl alcohol? Because see, even here it was attached to secondary carbon, but we called it isopropyl alcohol because it is an isomer of this. The position of this OH is changed, so it is known as, if the position of this OH is changed, it is known as isopropyl alcohol. Even here the position of OH is changed, it is known as isobutyl alcohol. But see here, isobutyl alcohol is already one product we have named. Here CH2 has its position changed, not OH. So such compound is known as isobutyl alcohol. Again we cannot name it isobutyl alcohol because we already have one compound having naming isobutyl alcohol. So we do not use the term isobutyl alcohol, we use secondary butyl alcohol because it is attached to secondary carbon. Now there won't be any fault if you write this isopropyl alcohol as secondary propyl alcohol. Why? Because this OH is attached to secondary carbon. So if you simply forget what is isopropyl alcohol, then you can simply write it is secondary propyl alcohol. And usually this question is not asked. Okay, the question which is asked in this nomenclature, I'll tell you about that. These are just for information. So it is known as secondary butyl alcohol. Common naming is little bit tougher. IUPAC naming is very simple. See the longest carbon chain 1, 2, 3, 4, least position. Now 1, 2, 3, 4, no side chain. So simply it is known as butane. It is in second position, butane 2-ol. Now sometimes it can be in this way. This is attached to OH is attached to secondary carbon. It can even be attached to a tertiary carbon, like it can be in this way. It can be attached to tertiary carbon. I taught you about this few moments earlier in that classification. I told you that this is a type of tertiary alcohol. Yeah. So now see its name. It is attached to tertiary carbon because see this carbon has 1, 2, 3, 3 other carbon atoms. So this is tertiary carbon and OH is attached to tertiary carbon. So it is known as tertiary butyl alcohol. And according to IUPAC naming, simple. See the longest carbon chain 1, 2, 3. It is acting as side chain. This is the longest carbon chain 1, 2, 3 side chain. So it is in second position. So 2 methyl and 1, 2, 3. So propane. Second position ol, 2-ol. So IUPAC naming is simple. But one thing, see here we are writing propane. Why butyl here? So I'll tell you one trick here, that in common naming system we count all the carbon. Always if you write the common name of a compound, or simply you have a common name given, then you suppose you have a like you have been given this name, tertiary butyl alcohol, and you have been told to write the IUPAC naming of this compound, then you might say butyl and you might write that butyl in this IUPAC name, but that's not the thing. Only in this common naming we have written butyl. What you need to do in such cases, you first draw the structure of that compound, and according to the structure you write that IUPAC name. Because see, I told you that in common naming system we count all the carbon, whatever the carbon is present, like 1, 2, 3, 4 carbons, so butyl is there. Okay, but if you see the IUPAC naming, we only count the longest carbon chain. We only count the longest carbon chain carbon atoms, like 1, 2, 3. So it is propane there. So in this way common naming and IUPAC naming are different. So now among all these I told you, you can see once again from the beginning, methyl alcohol, ethyl alcohol, propyl alcohol, simple. But if this propyl alcohol has an isomer, like this position of this OH is changed, then it is known as isopropyl alcohol. Here the position of this CH3 cannot be changed. Like in this case we had the position of CH2 changed. Even in this case, if we have the position of CH2 changed, the name will still remain propyl alcohol. I'll give you a demo. Suppose this is CH3, CH2, CH2, OH. In this butyl we had the position of CH2 changed, so name was also different. But here if you change the position of this CH2, for example, if we change this position and bring it here, if you bring it here, so CH3, CH2, CH2, OH, still the name will remain the same, 1, 2, 3. So 1, 2, 3 is there, so propyl alcohol, or simply propane 1-ol. Or if you change its position, so if you change its position, where will it go? CH3, it will come here obviously, CH2, and if it comes here, CH2 will not remain, OH will add it here. So in this case, this is also an isomer, but still the naming will remain the same, 1, 2, 3. Again it will be propane 1-ol, or simply propane 2-ol. Friends, what I mean to say, this is not important, I am just giving you a demo. What I mean to say is that the isomers of this propyl alcohol is only in the terms of change of this position of OH. It means if there is a propyl alcohol, its isomer can according to this alcohol naming, its isomer can only be if its position of the alcohol is changed. So position of alcohol is changed, isomer, so it is isopropyl alcohol, simply secondary propyl alcohol. IUPAC naming you can write, count the longest carbon chain, write the name. Now this is butyl alcohol, simple. But if the position of CH2, any one of the CH2 is changed, this is a type of isomer of this, so it is isobutyl alcohol. Again the position of OH can also be changed. Now we cannot write isobutyl alcohol, so we write according to the nature of the carbon. The nature of carbon here is secondary, so it is secondary butyl alcohol. Why butyl? Because 1, 2, 3, 4 carbon. We count all the carbon in common naming system. Now here it is attached to tertiary carbon, so tertiary butyl alcohol. And now the important names, tertiary butyl alcohol is very important, and one more important name is there, which is of this glycerol, CH2, CH, CH2 and OH is attached in each of them. It means this is a type of trihydrate. This is known as glycerol. The name is must to be remembered, glycerol, and according to common naming, this is glycerol. According to, you can simply give the name. See, 1 2 3. So 1 2 3, and this is 3 carbon in the chain. So propane, 1 2 3 diol. So two of the nomenclature which is very important. First of all, we have tertiary butyl alcohol, and then we have glycerol. So the other namings you forget, you do not mug up, you skip them, you omit them, no matter, but these two are the must to be remembered. You must remember the structure of this. I suggest that mug this whole thing. It will save your time in the examination. Like simply, if you go on making the structure of this tertiary butyl alcohol, there might be two problems. First of all, it might consume your time, and secondly, suppose one carbon goes in wrong position, then it can be all wrong. Like sometimes it is asked, write the IUPAC naming of tertiary butyl alcohol. Suppose you draw the wrong structure of this and then write the IUPAC naming, the complete IUPAC naming will go wrong. So it's better to just mug this up. Tertiary butyl alcohol means what? Attached to a carbon having 3 more carbon. So 3 more carbon, it is attached to a carbon having 3 more carbon. Now this is the thing, but a carbon can have 4 bonds. So see, 1 2 3 4, and this has only 1 bond, so rest of this fill with hydrogen. So this is tertiary butyl alcohol according to common naming, or tertiary butyl alcohol according to IUPAC naming. What is this? Count the longest carbon chain, 1 2 3, attached in second position, methyl attached to second position, ol. So it is 2 methyl propane 2 ol. Okay, and glycerol, CH2. Glycerol, simply you can remember that 3 OH is added. So if 3 OH is added to the 3 carbon, so you can make this with 3 OH to 3 carbon. Okay, 3 carbon. Now carbon has maximum 4 bonds, so 1 bond for each of them, and these all are connected, 2 bond for each of them. Now other fill them up, 1 2 3 4, 4 bond, 1 2 3, 1 hydrogen needed, 1 2 2 hydrogen needed. So this is glycerol or propane, 1 2 3 diol. So with this we complete the nomenclature of the alcohol. Importance: tertiary butyl alcohol, glycerol. Now I'll tell you about the isomerism, and then you'll understand all these things as well, like why they were called isopropyl alcohol and why they were called secondary. Like you'll understand the isomerism more easily. Now I told you that nomenclature is asked, so this isomerism, it is not asked usually. Like they never say you write the isomers of this compound. So at least in alcohol they do not ask write the isomer of this alcohol. Nomenclature is asked from this. And the rest of the things are preparation and chemical reactions. I'll teach you about them. First let's see the basic knowledge about isomerism. So isomerism in alcohol. Now this alcohol, it exhibits different types of isomerism. Like usually it exhibits 3 types. First is chain isomer. Second is position isomers. And third one is functional isomers. Now what is chain isomer first of all? So let's go for the first one. So let's take an example of any of the normal alcohol. So let's take this alcohol. Let's take pentanol. Pentanol means 5 carbon. This is known as pentanol, or you can write it as pentane 1-ol, pentane 1-ol or pentanol. Now what is the chain isomers of pentanol? First of all, let's understand what is chain isomerism. So chain isomerism means a type of isomerism in which position of any one of this methyl group, this CH2 or CH3, basically CH3, it is changed. For example, this is a normal pentanol, but sometimes it can be in this way, let's change the position of this CH3. Okay, let's bring it here. So if we bring it here, it will become CH3 because carbon has maximum 4 bonds. So CH3, and if we add this here, then it might form 1 2 3 4 and fifth bond. So this hydrogen is not there, one hydrogen removed. This is a trick. Okay, CH3 added here and the rest of the things same. So these both are isomers, and such isomers are known as chain isomers, in which the position of this any one of the methyl group is changed. Okay, so simply what we have done, we have changed this methyl group, or you can change any of the methyl group. So see this, if we add this in this position, then this carbon should have 4 bond. So if we bring this here, one bond will be broken, so one more hydrogen gets added. And if we add this here, then it might form 5 bond, like see if it is added here CH3. So 1 2 3 and 4 5 with this hydrogen, so one hydrogen is removed. That's the trick to write. So this is chain isomerism. Secondly, we have position isomers. So in position isomers, let's take an example of any of the alcohol again. Let's take this same example: CH3 CH2 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 CH2OH. This is pentanol, 5 carbon. So now position isomers means the change of the position of alcohol. Like this OH is attached here in place of this. So again the trick, if it is attached here, one hydrogen will be broken and it will add here. Because see, if it adds here, then it might have only 3 bonds, because 1 carbon, 2 3, because this is broken. So 2 3 and 1, and one more bond is required for carbon, so one more hydrogen. And here if it is added, it might form 5 bonds, so one hydrogen is removed. So these two isomers are position isomers, in which the position of the functional group, any of the functional group, not only alcohol, any functional group is changed. It is known as position isomers. So if you compare both of them, chain isomer and position isomer, chain isomer means the isomers in which the position of the methyl group is changed. Okay, the chain is different. Like if you see here, the chain is known, why it is known as chain isomer. See 1 2 3 4 5, so it is known as pentanol, isn't it? But here if you see 1 2 3 4, in the main chain only 4 of the carbons are left. Here 5 carbons were there, here 4 carbon. So there is change in the number of carbons in the main chain, so it is known as chain isomers. Or simply you can remember that the position of the methyl group is different. Its name, if you want to write, it can be 2-methyl, because this is acting as side chain. Now 2-methyl 1 2 3 4. In this IUPAC naming, you only count the carbon in the main chain. So butane, and in one position you do from this. Now this might be the error. So now see, what we do is that it comes in 4 positions, so we count from here 1 2 3 4. So it will come in 3rd position. So 3-methyl butane 1-ol. So this is the name of this. In position isomer, what is happening in position isomer? The position of the alcohol or any of the functional group is changing. Like it was in this 4th carbon, not actually 4th carbon, it was in this 1st carbon. Now it is in 2nd carbon. And finally we have functional isomer. So what is functional isomer? Now functional isomer is pretty much different. There is no change in position of anything. Here the entire functional group changes. For example, if you take any of the example, like let's take ethanol. What is ethanol? CH3 CH2OH, isn't it? Or if you want to write the structural naming of this, it can be C2H6O. We can write this way: 2 carbon, 1 2 3 1 2 3 4 5 6 hydrogen and oxygen. And now this is simple ethanol or ethyl alcohol. Now functional isomers means that the entire functional group changes. Like the C2H6O, it can be written in 2 ways. One way is this, CH3 CH2OH. One way is this, but another way is that we can write O in between, and then it can be written this way: CH3 CH3. Basically the thing is the same: 2 carbon, 6 hydrogen and 1 oxygen, but the functional group is different now. Here the functional group is alcohol, here the functional group now is ether. Ether means this. Okay, so this is ether. So the entire functional group is different now. The naming of this ether we'll learn in the chapter. Basically it is known as methoxymethane or dimethyl ether, because two methyl groups are dimethyl ether. And why methoxymethane we'll learn in the chapter. For now you just see the entire functional group is different, so this is known as functional isomerism. So what are the three types of isomerism in alcohol? First is chain isomer. If the number of carbon changes in the main chain, or simply if the position of the methyl group changes. Position isomer means the position of the functional group changes. Here the methyl group changes, here the functional group changes, and in functional isomerism the entire functional group changes. Here it was alcohol, here now it is ether. So these were the basic knowledge about alcohol. I taught you about the classification, about the nomenclature and the isomerism. Among them, nomenclature is the most important, which is asked, and even among the nomenclature, this tertiary butyl alcohol and glycerol. So those were the questions for 1 marks. Now let us head to the questions which are asked in 5 marks. And now you know that in 5 marks the general methods of preparation are asked and the chemical reactions are asked, or simply chemical properties. So let's begin from general methods of preparation. Now in alcohol general methods of preparation, there are only 2 general methods of preparation that is asked again and again. It means usually there are many general methods of preparation for alcohol, but the important ones are only 2. So from the examination point of view, we are only reading about those 2, and the other ones we are omitting for now, but they are not that important. If you want to see, you can have a look in your textbook. So now if you remember the general methods of preparation of haloalkanes, which we learned in the previous video, there were many general methods of preparation of haloalkane, like it was from alkane, from alkene, and then it was from alcohol. So there we were preparing haloalkane from alcohol, like if you see this. And haloalkanes, the general methods of preparation we learned from alkane, in which we just directly reacted with 1 chlorine. In alkene we reacted it with we reacted the alkene with any of the halo acid like HCl. The mechanism, if you remember, it was very simple. I have told you about this in the last video. You can go back to that video if you have forgotten. And then we did from alcohol, we just reacted the alcohol with one of the halo acids. The mechanism I have told you in that video. So in this way haloalkanes were being prepared, but here in this alcohol we are preparing it from haloalkanes. Yeah, so that's the thing. We were preparing haloalkane from alcohol. Now we are preparing alcohol from haloalkane. Reversible, kind of reversible reaction, not exactly reversible. We cannot call it reversible basically. It's type of reaction in which both of them can be prepared from either one. And then we have from Grignard reagent. Yeah, if you remember what is a Grignard's reagent, we learned about Grignard's reagent in the chemical reactions of haloalkanes. If you remember, in the chemical reactions of haloalkanes, we learned about this, the Grignard's reagent. The simple one was like in Wurtz reaction, we were reacting this haloalkane means RX with Na, and in this way alkane was being prepared. But for Grignard's reagent, I told you that we do not use 2 of them, we use RX and we use Mg. If you remember, I'm just telling you the way we had remembered that thing, memorized that thing. Haloalkane treated with magnesium. If the haloalkane was treated with magnesium, what happens? This Mg goes and attaches there, so it forms RMgX, and this thing is known as Grignard's reagent or alkyl magnesium halide. So this thing was known as Grignard's reagent. It was simply a product of it was simply a product of this reaction of haloalkane with magnesium. So here we are preparing alcohol from this Grignard's reagent. Now I want to tell you one question about this Grignard's reagent. It is from that haloalkanes chapter, but I forgot to tell you that question in that video, so I am telling you right now. Like I told you that this Grignard's reagent is one of the most important questions. Like it might be asked in this way: identify the given compounds. Like it might be given in this way: CH2, so C2H5Br, Mg. In the presence of dry ether, a compound is formed, and when we treat it with H2O, it means we are doing acidification. What is the product B? So one thing, whenever you see this C2H5Br Mg and dry ether, you understand that this Grignard's reagent is about to be formed. If you see Na in place of this, you understand that is Wurtz reaction. I told you about that. But if you see Mg in place of Na and dry ether, you understand, you just mug it up that this question is about the Grignard's reagent. This is haloalkane. So obviously I told you that what happens is that this is the mechanism. This Mg goes and adds there. So what will happen in this C2H5Br when it is treated with Mg in presence of dry ether? What will happen? Mg and will go and add there. So it will be C2H5MgBr. This is Grignard's reagent. It means a compound is this. If you want to name, it will be C2H5 means ethyl, Mg means magnesium, Br means bromide. So ethyl magnesium bromide. A is ethyl magnesium bromide. Till here it is simple, but I forgot to tell you in that video about this thing. What happens when we react this ethyl magnesium bromide? It means Grignard's reagent with water. And why am I telling you this right now? Because this question, when I looked it into the question bank, this question is very frequently asked and very important question. So I am telling you this here. Like this entire identification is asked many times. The same identification, only the compound here is different. That doesn't matter, only MgBr is formed at last. That's the thing. Grignard's reagent is formed. But what happens when we treat this Grignard's reagent with this H2? It means what happens on acidification. This is known as acidification. On treatment with water, it is known as acidification. Because here there are two ways to understand. First of all, you can just understand this properly, no need to mug up. And second one is memorize this, mug this thing up. So what happens is C2H5MgBr, it means this product A when it's treated with H2O and from which H plus is coming out. Simply when it is treated with H2O, I'll write it simple, treated with H2O, what happens is this complete MgBr is removed and this hydrogen goes and adds there. Only one hydrogen, it goes and adds there. Okay, so C2H5, now it becomes C2, one hydrogen goes and adds there, C2H6 plus other ones you can write, or it's your wish, you do not write, because only B is asked, nothing else is. So this is the compound. So what is happening when you treat Grignard's reagent? It means Grignard's reagent is RMgX, alkyl group, Mg and halogen. So when you treat this Grignard's reagent with water, then this whole MgX is removed and H goes and adds there. So RH, it means alkane is produced. Alkane is produced. So two ways you can understand this thing, like MgX is being removed, H is going there, or you just mug it up. Whenever we treat Grignard's reagent with water, alkane is being prepared. This whole thing removed, hydrogen goes and adds here. I told you about this question because this is very important. So coming back to the topic, alcohol. This was from haloalkanes. So now we were reading how do we prepare alcohol. So first method was from haloalkane, second from Grignard's reagent. The more important one is Grignard's reagent. This is very important, almost a fixed question from Grignard's reagent. Haloalkanes might or might not be asked, but I assure you, if this question is not asked in 5 marks, this Grignard's reagent, it will be asked in 10 marks. How in 10 marks? Like there is one question at the end, like write short notes on, and then 4 topics are there, and among those 4 topics you have to write on 2 topics. That last question, that one topic will be this, preparation of alcohol from Grignard's reagent. So if this is more important, let's begin from Grignard's reagent, then we'll learn about haloalkanes. Okay, so general method of preparation, how from Grignard's reagent. First of all, to begin with, you need to just know what is Grignard's reagent. I told you how Grignard's reagent is prepared and what is Grignard's reagent. So simply Grignard's reagent is this. If you cannot understand, just mug this thing up. RMgX is Grignard's reagent. You're gonna use this in several places in the entire organic chemistry, so you need to have this in your mind. RMgX, it means alkyl magnesium halide is Grignard's reagent. How this is prepared? It is prepared by action of Rx with Mg. This Mg goes and adds there, so RMgX is formed. And if RMgX is treated with water, what happens is that this whole MgX gets replaced by water. So RH is formed. This is just for that question. I'm just making you revise this question again and again because this is very important. Okay, coming back to the topic, how is alcohol prepared? So here you need to understand this Grignard's reagent. We are preparing from this Grignard's reagent. What we are preparing? Alcohol. But with what do we react this Grignard's reagent so that the alcohol can be prepared? So we react this Grignard's reagent with either aldehyde or ketone we use as per our need in the presence of dry ether. Now wherever you see Grignard's reagent, you need the catalyst dry ether for the preparation of Grignard's reagent or the reactions of Grignard's reagent. Dry ether is a must. So in the presence of dry ether, and with this alcohol will be prepared. But this is just a basic phenomenon how it is actually done. So see, first you need to understand what is aldehyde ketone. I'll make a separate video on aldehyde ketone, the chapter itself, but for now we just need the general formula of aldehyde ketone. So any of the compound having this thing CHO attached to anything R or anything, it is known as aldehyde. And any of the compound having this CO attached to anything, it is known as ketone. Basically this is structural writing. If you see, it is in this way, like CHO means in this way, CH, double bond between carbon and oxygen. Here R can be added or anything else. This CHO is added, this is known as aldehyde. And in place of CHO, if only CO is there, even here R, even here R, only CO is there, not H. Okay, only one difference, that in place of H anything else is there, alkyl group or anything, and this is known as ketone. So this is aldehyde, this is ketone. Aldehyde means CHO, ketone means CO. There is always double bond between carbon and oxygen, remember this, in aldehyde and ketones. So the two things are there, aldehyde and ketone. So if we react Grignard's reagent with aldehyde or ketone, then two different products will be formed. If we react with aldehyde, alcohol will be formed, but different type of alcohol. If we react with this, different type of alcohol. So let's go deep into this. Basic phenomenon is what? RMGX, which is the Grignard's reagent, being treated with aldehyde or ketone in the presence of dry ether, and alcohol is prepared. This is the first method of preparation and the most important one, probably the most important in the entire organic chemistry. So this thing you need to remember. If you cannot understand, mark this thing up. So there are three cases. Let's read. 1 degree, 2 degree, this is second case, 3rd degree is the third case. So these are the three cases. It means from this all the three kinds of alcohol can be prepared: 1 degree, 2 degree and 3 degree. And this is the question which is asked in 5 marks. Simply this question can be asked in 1 marks, like write the reaction, but in 5 marks or in 10 marks it can be asked in this way, like how is 1 degree, 2 degree and 3 degree alcohol synthesized from Grignard's reagent. So you need to write the reaction for each of them. So let's go for 1 degree. So how is 1 degree alcohol prepared? So 1 degree alcohol is prepared when you treat the Grignard's reagent with formaldehyde. Now formaldehyde is basically a type of aldehyde. We know this is aldehyde. I told you this is aldehyde, and here R is added. Okay, this is aldehyde. But formaldehyde is a type of aldehyde where in place of R, H is there. It means H and CHO, aldehyde. So HCHO, this HCHO is formaldehyde, or simply CH2O. You can write it anyway. In aldehyde, a hydrogen is added. So this is known as formaldehyde. So when you treat Grignard's reagent with this formaldehyde, alcohol is prepared. But how? So let's go to the basic again. So see, what happens is that, let's take for example this RMGX. It is being treated with any of the, like if this is aldehyde, here H will be there. If it is ketone, R will be there. So leave that. Let's deal about this. What happens is that in basic phenomenon, when we treat this with dry ether, the phenomenon is that this bond between carbon and oxygen gets broken. When it gets broken, it will have minus charge, and one more bond is to be formed with carbon, isn't it? Because carbon has 4 bonds. So if one bond is broken, so 1, 2, 3, only 3 bond is remaining. So one more bond is to be made. So what happens is that this MgX and R is there. So this R comes and gets added here. It has minus charge for now, and R comes and gets added here. And on further acidification with water, this H of this water, it goes and adds to this minus part. In this way alcohol is prepared. If you see, this is an alcohol, RCOH. This C is basically a part of this. Like if you see CH3, CH2OH, here anything can be added, like hydrogen is there, then this is CH2. So CH3 means alkyl, CH2 this, and OH. So this is an alcohol, isn't it? This is just a general different representation. So see again what is happening. Simple RMgX is there. Okay, so when it is treated with any of the aldehyde or ketone, the basic phenomenon is that this bond gets broken. And remember, this is a very important reaction. So if you are not understanding, just mark this thing up, that first of all bond breaks and then hydrogen comes and adds to oxygen. So bond is being broken. When the bond breaks, it will have minus charge for sure, because oxygen, it is more electronegative, so it has minus charge now. It has more valence electrons. So if bond is broken, it will pull all the valence electrons towards itself, because it is more electronegative. So it will have minus charge, it will have plus charge. Now since carbon has 4 bonds, so this R will come and get added here. MgX, there is no mean of this MgX here. So R gets added here. Still it has minus charge. So on further acidification, when it is treated with water, if you remember, we had one reaction acidification, but that is different. Okay, that is like direct MgX. This question was from haloalkanes. I told you again, like direct, this Grignard's reagent is treated with water and then alkane is prepared. This MgX being replaced with water. Here the thing is different. Here not a Grignard's reagent is being treated with water. This compound is being treated with water. So when it is treated with water, this H plus ion of this water, it goes and adds to this minus part, because this is positive, this is negative. So it will form OH and it will form R. So this is alcohol. Now you will understand it much better when I will give you examples. So let's go back to the first case, formaldehyde in case. Let's do it in fresh space. So first case was 1 degree alcohol. So how do we prepare 1 degree alcohol? We treat it with formaldehyde. So RMgX, let's take any of the first of all, let's take RMgX. Let's not take example. RMgX being treated with formaldehyde. Formaldehyde means this CHO has hydrogen attached to it. So in presence of dry ether, what will happen? This bond will break. This bond will break and minus charge will be there, and one bond will be valence here. It means one more bond can be formed. So this R will come and add to the carbon. So the compound is as it is. So R came and add here, and here minus charge there. On further acidification with water, this H plus will go and add here. So this H plus will go and add, and it is so this is alcohol. And if we see with example, I'll tell you now. See, in place of RMgX, we can take any Grignard's reagent. Like in place of R, let's take CH3 alkyl group. Mg as it is. In place of X, any halogen, let's take bromine. Now it is treated with formaldehyde. So dry ether. What will happen? This bond will get broken, minus charge, this CH3, this R, which is the R, CH3, it will come and add here. So H, CH, CH3, R came and add here, and minus charge. On further acidification with water, H will come and add here. So CH3, OH. Now what is this? This is alcohol. CH3, CH3, CH2, OH, which is alcohol, and this is 1 degree alcohol, because see, OH attached to only one OH attached to a carbon which has only one further carbon. So it is 1 degree alcohol, which is known as ethanol. So this is a process of formation of 1 degree alcohol. Not that complex, it's very simple. That any of the Grignard's reagent, it gets reacted with formaldehyde for 1 degree alcohol. Now for 2 degree alcohol, what happens is that in place of formaldehyde, let's take the same thing, CH3MgBr. CH3MgBr. In place of formaldehyde, we use any other aldehyde. We use any aldehyde. I told you that it is treated with aldehyde or ketone. aldehyde or ketone. So in place of formaldehyde, take any aldehyde, not ketone, any aldehyde. So first of all, see, this is aldehyde, and any aldehyde, so add CH3 here. We can even add CH3, CH2 and then CHO, any aldehyde. So now what happens is that the process is the same, nothing different, only the type of aldehyde is different. This CH3 will come and attach this because this bond is broken, so minus charge. So the process is the same, CH3, CH3 comes and attach here, minus charge. On further acidification with water, CH3, CH3, same thing, only OH is changed. So now write the formula. So see, CH3, one more CH3, CH2, oh sorry, not this one, CH3, and see this carbon has one CH3 and one hydrogen. This is CH, one more CH3 attached, and OH, isn't it? I'm just writing this in this way. See, again I'll tell you. First of all, we write CH3 and then this CH. It in CH what is attached, and OH and CH3 is attached. So CH3 and OH is attached. So this OH is attached to a secondary carbon. This carbon has two more carbon. So this is the process of formation of second degree alcohol when we treat the Grignard's reagent with any aldehyde other than formaldehyde. If we treat with formaldehyde, 1 degree will be prepared. If you see, the common sense is there. If you see the mechanism, like in place of CH3 in formaldehyde, hydrogen is there. So since hydrogen is there, so in place of CH3, CH2 is there. So it is 1 degree alcohol. But here in place of this hydrogen, one more CH3 is there. So it is 2 degree alcohol. So that's the common sense. Now for 3 degree alcohol. Now we used formaldehyde, we used aldehyde, but for 3 degree alcohol, we treat the Grignard's reagent with any of the ketone, not the aldehyde. We treat with ketone. Like I told you that this process is basically, it is completely based on treatment with Grignard's reagent, treatment of Grignard's reagent with aldehyde and ketone. So if you treat with formaldehyde, 1 degree. If you treat with any aldehyde other than formaldehyde, 2 degree. And if you treat with ketone, it is 3 degree. So what is ketone? This is ketone. Now here you can add anything. You can add CH3, you can add CH2, CH3, but not hydrogen, because if you add hydrogen it will form aldehyde. So except hydrogen you can add anything. CH3, let's add CH3 normal, just to make simple. So again the mechanism is the same. Dry ether, bond will be broken, minus charge, it will come and attack here. So CH3, one more CH3 is there, bond is broken, minus charge, so acidification, OH will be added. It means hydrogen will come and get added there. So this is what a 3 degree alcohol, because this OH is attached to a carbon having 3 more carbon. Basically its name is what? This is most important nomenclature, tertiary butyl alcohol, if you remember. So tertiary butyl alcohol. So this is 3 degree alcohol. So this is the way of preparation of 1, 2 and 3 degree alcohol from Grignard's reagent. From the beginning, let's see once again. So this question might be asked in this way: how is 1 degree, 2 degree and 3 degree alcohol synthesized from Grignard's reagent? So while you write, you first need to write the basic mechanism. Like you need to write what is the basic mechanism. RMgX being treated with aldehyde or ketone, anything. If hydrogen is there, aldehyde. If alkyl group is there, ketone. So what will happen if we treat with dry ether? This R will come and attack there because this bond is broken, minus charge. So on further hydrolysis or acidification, this as it is, this hydrogen goes and adds there. So in this way alcohol is prepared. Now further 1 degree, 2 degree, 3 degree alcohol. For 1 degree alcohol, you just need to show, you do not show the mechanism again and again. So you directly give the example. You just show this thing, okay? Simple, this thing. You show this CH3, MgBr or Cl, any Grignard's reagent being treated with formaldehyde, and then the rest of the mechanism, it will itself form 1 degree alcohol. For 2 degree you use any aldehyde except formaldehyde. For formaldehyde you would add hydrogen here. For any other you use any of the alkyl group except hydrogen. For ketone, for 3 degree we use ketone. Ketone is in place of hydrogen any other alkyl group. So you just need to remember in this entire Grignard's reagent that for 1 degree we have formaldehyde. Formaldehyde means, if you cannot understand what is formaldehyde, just memorize the formula. This is formaldehyde. For 2 degree we have any aldehyde except formaldehyde. In place of hydrogen any other methyl group or alkyl group, this is aldehyde, CHO and then alkyl group. And for 3 degree we have ketone. Ketone means CON, and then in except hydrogen you can add anything, CH3. Okay, so this is the process in which you prepare alcohol from the Grignard's reagent. And because this is so long, not actually long, there are many methods to prepare all the 3 kinds of alcohol. Because of this thing, it is very important and frequently asked. Usually if you see, it is very easy. Only the thing is, you just need to add alkyl group first and then hydrogen. So first R is getting added and then hydrogen is getting added. Only this thing is repeated in each and every process. Only you need to remember that Grignard's reagent is being treated with aldehyde and ketone, and in what it is treated with what. If you remember this, your 5 marks is fixed, and that's a lot for chemistry. So this was for the preparation of 1 degree, 2 degree, 3 degree alcohol from Grignard's reagent. And I told you there are 2 important ways Grignard's reagent is done, and from haloalkanes. Okay, so what type of questions may be asked from this preparation? Simply, the most important one is Grignard's reagent, I told you. So they can ask you, how do you prepare 1 degree, 2 degree and 3 degree alcohol from Grignard's reagent, or simply the synthesis of 1 degree, 2 degree, 3 degree alcohol. Or sometimes they can ask you like simply how do you prepare from Grignard's reagent. Those are simple questions, but sometimes questions can be twisted. How? See, sometimes they can tell you, write the chemical reaction. Write the chemical reaction for the following, and 1, 2, 3 from other chapters also can be included. And in one of the question it can be in this way, like propane 2-ol from methyl magnesium bromide. Now at a glance, when you see this question, your mind can go freeze, like your mind will be freezed if you see this question at a glance, and if you haven't practiced the questions in numerous ways. So I'm telling you what kind of questions can be asked. So see, simply it can say, write the chemical reaction for this reaction, and from the other chapters it might be included. I'll cover up those chapters in my next videos, and then you'll be perfect in those. For now, just see, like propane 2-ol from methyl magnesium bromide. So do not get confused in these. We know that propane 2-ol means alcohol. It is the preparation of alcohol, and obviously you have learned the preparation of alcohol, so it is not out of syllabus or out of your mind as well. So you just need to focus what this question is saying, because this is chemistry, will try to confuse it. So see, I told you, first of all you make an open structure of whatever the compound is given. So see, propane 2-ol. So what is propane 2-ol? It is a type of alcohol. So simply it is propane, so it might be CH3, CH2, CH3, 3 carbon. Propane means this. 2-ol, it means that in second carbon or in second position the OH is added. If it is added in this position, then H will be removed, because carbon can have only 4 bonds. So 1, 2, 3 and 4. So this is propane 2-ol, and from what we need to prepare? Methyl magnesium bromide. Now methyl magnesium bromide, I told you such things are Grignard's reagent, because see, methyl magnesium bromide, simply methyl means CH3, magnesium Mg, bromide Br. So this is Grignard's reagent, RMgX. R means CH3 here, X means Br here, and Mg as it is. So it's simple that we need to prepare this alcohol from Grignard's reagent. We know that we treat the Grignard's reagent with aldehyde or ketone. We just need to give the chemical reaction here. So what type of chemical reaction should we give? Like we should react this Grignard's reagent with formaldehyde or aldehyde or ketone. So that's what we need to write here. That's the only thing this question is asking us. So see, simply we need to prepare this CH3CH I'll make OH from Grignard's reagent CH3MgBr. This is the question. So see, now the thing is, what type of reagent we use? We use formaldehyde, we use aldehyde or ketone. We know formaldehyde for 1 degree, aldehyde for 2 degree, ketone for 3 degree. So what type of alcohol is this? OH is added to a carbon which is further bonded to 2 others. So this is 2 degree carbon, so this is 2 degree alcohol. Simple. OH is added to a carbon which is a 2 degree carbon, because see, this carbon has 2 other carbon. It means it is bonded with 2 other carbon. So it is a 2 degree alcohol. So what we use for 2 degree alcohol? We use any aldehyde except formaldehyde. So simple. CH3MgBr. We need to use any of the aldehyde except formaldehyde. Use any. CH3 and CHO. This is aldehyde, CHO, and then CH3. Formaldehyde is what? Just H is here in place of CH3. So we know always we use it in presence of dry ether. Now what will happen? Simple. This CH3 will go and attack here because this bond will be broken and minus charge will come. If you cannot remember this, you just remember this thing, RMgX plus this is any aldehyde or ketone. If H is here, then it is aldehyde. If something else is there, then it is ketone. So simply this bond gets broken and this R comes and adds here. So it becomes R, and then H comes and adds here. So simple, see, R will come and add here. This R goes and adds here. R is what? Methyl group, CH3. CH3 comes and adds here because this bond is broken. So this bond is broken, so the compound is, first of all, this, as it is, bond is broken, minus charge is there, and alkyl group comes and attacks this, so it becomes this way. And then we know that in all the reactions of Grignard's reagent, it means the preparation of alcohol from Grignard's reagent, after this we do hydrolysis. And what happens? From this H comes and goes there, so it forms an alcohol. So this is the alcohol prepared, which is propanediol. Now check once, is it propanediol or not? So see, CH3, I'll draw it clearly. CH3, CHOH, CH3. This is what we've got here. So see, we are just checking this is propanediol or not. Propanediol means simple, CH3, CH3, and in second position OH. So this is propanediol. So is it propanediol or not? So see, this is CH with CH, OH is added. Along CH, CH3 is added. And what else is added? One more CH3 is added. So see, basically this is the same thing, isn't it? You can write this way, CH3, CH, CH3, OH, isn't it? Same meaning. This CH3 here and this OH here, same meaning. So we have prepared propanediol from CH3MgBr. So these are the types of questions that might confuse you, but you just need to remember the reaction. And I told you this Grignard's reagent is one of the most important reactions of the entire organic chemistry. So you just need to remember the thing that RMgX, it reacts with aldehyde or ketone. If H is there, it is aldehyde. If something else, alkyl group is there, it is ketone. This bond breaks, minus charge goes there, R comes and attacks this in presence of dry ether. So what happens is, no meaning of this, right? So this happens, and then on further hydrolysis, why we do hydrolysis? We need alcohol, we need OH here. So OH will come from hydrolysis, this H will come and attack there. This is an electrophile, H plus OH, double OH, and then R. So this is alcohol prepared from Grignard's reagent. Because I told you there are a number of important questions and the variable questions that can be made from this chapter. The more important ones are yet to come, but still, let's move on to, let's practice some more types of questions from this preparation. Like I told you that in this question it was said that simply prepare the propanediol from methyl magnesium bromide. Sometimes it can even say like prepare 2-methyl propane to ol from same methyl magnesium bromide, it means CH3MgBr. Let's write directly. And this question has been asked. Okay, so this is the asked question in the previous years. So how would you prepare 2-methyl propane 2-ol? So now again make an open chain structure of this 2-methyl propane 2-ol. We again know propane means 3 carbon. So CH3, simply make propane first, CH2 CH3. This is propane. Now we know in second position there is OL. So remove hydrogen, add OH. Then we have 2-methyl. It means in second position methyl group is also there. So see, this is second position, 1 2 3 or 1 2 3, any, this will be the second position. In second position methyl group is also there, CH3. So this is the compound you need to prepare from CH3MgBr. Again we just need to see what type of alcohol is this, and then we use formaldehyde, aldehyde or ketone. So what type of alcohol is this? See, OH is added to a carbon which is added to 3 more carbons. It means this is a 3-degree alcohol. So what we do, we simply use ketone for 3-degree alcohol. So we use CH3MgBr, which is being treated with ketone. This is ketone. Now add anything, add CH3, add CH3. So this is ketone. In presence of dry ether, again what will happen, this bond will break, minus charge, CH3 will come and attack here. So CH3, 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 O. So similar structure, only H is different. So what we do, H2O, this H will go, H plus from this H2O will go and attack this place. So it will become CH3, C, CH3, CH3 and then OH. So same thing, this is known as 2-methyl propane 2-ol. You see, 1 2 3, 2-methyl propane 2-ol. It was prepared from CH3MgBr. Similarly, in 2072 in the SETI it has been asked to prepare butane 2-ol from this CH3MgBr. Usually CH3MgBr is asked. This question is more important. Look at 2-methyl propane 2-ol, then this propane 2-ol. This is second most important for this type of conversions and reactions actually. This more, this thin, and then this. So butane 2-ol from CH3MgBr. Again make an open chain structure of butane 2-ol. Butane means 4 carbon, CH3, CH2, CH2, CH3. This is butane. Okay, and now in second position OH is there. You can take any second position. You can take this, you can take this. Let's take this. If we take this, remove 1 hydrogen. So this is butane 2-ol. We need to prepare this butane 2-ol. So again, what type of carbon is this? This is 2-degree carbon. So this is 2-degree alcohol. So to prepare 2-degree alcohol from CH3MgBr, we know we'll use we'll use aldehyde except formaldehyde. But now see, this is not a simple case. At one side we have CH3, we have CH2 CH3 here. So here you need to use your mind. A simple trick, I'll tell you. See, first of all we use CH3MgBr. We use any of the aldehyde. This is simple aldehyde. In normal cases we were simply using CH3 here, isn't it? Like in that propane 2-ol we were using CH3. But now see, here we have CH2 CH3 on one side. So what we do, simple trick is here that you use CH2 CH3 here. Okay, the trick is that on the other side, it means if you take one side, then on the remaining side whatever the group is, you keep that group here. This is a simple trick. Okay, like for example in propane 2-ol, this is propane 2-ol. Let's see the open chain structure. This is propane 2-ol. So take this, and on one side we have CH3 remaining. So what we do, we use CH3 here so that that compound can be produced. But simply we need CH2 CH3 now. See, we need CH2 CH3. So simple, we will use CH2 CH3 here. Okay, this is a type of common sense, just making it by using your logic. So what will happen, this bond will get broken, CH3 will come and attack this. So CH3 CH2 as it is, this as it is, just CH3 comes and attacks, and further hydrolysis, I'm writing directly on further hydrolysis, OH will be produced, same process. So OH will be produced. In this way butane 2-ol is produced. See, this is butane 2-ol because you can count from this side 1 2 3 4. Sorry, this is not the, you just need to make this open chain structure. Once again I'm showing you this structure here. This is CH3, CH2, CHO, and then CH3. So see, check once again, this is butane 2-ol or not. So see, CHO is there. So C is there and OH is there. So this CH and then OH is there, CH and then OH is there, and the rest of the things added, like this thing is added and even this thing is added. So at one side we have CH3, on the other side we have CH2, CH3. So see, this is butane 2-ol, same thing, isn't it? Okay, to be clear, see, once again I'm showing you from the beginning. What we do, we have to prepare butane 2-ol. This is butane 2-ol, isn't it? This is butane 2-ol. So what we do, we simply react CH3 MgBr, which is the Grignard's reagent, with an aldehyde. This is aldehyde, okay? And what we do, I told you the trick, whatever is on the other side, we use that thing. Actually, this is not a trick, this is just a common sense. See, you need CH3 CH2, so obviously use CH3 CH2. If you just had CH3 here, you'll use CH3, because it's obvious that this comes and adds here, nothing else is happening, only this comes and adds here. So you already have CH, you have this CH3 coming and attacking, and the remaining whatever is the remaining one, you'll add that here, isn't it? So we use CH3 CH2. So now what will happen, it will be in this form. I'm doing directly like dry ether and then hydrolysis, so OH will be added here. So this is in this form. So I told you that checking is important, is it butane 2-ol or not. So see, this is basically CH and OH, CH and then OH is attached to this, okay, CH and then OH, and on one side of this CH3 is attached, and on another side what is attached, CH2, CH3 is attached. So this is basically the same thing, butane 2-ol is produced. So in this you need to use your simple common sense and logic, so that you can prepare the necessary alcohol from the Grignard's reagent. These were the important types of questions that can be made from this general methods of preparation. Like they can say you prepare ethanol, and then they can say you to prepare that propane 2-ol, isodium propane 2-ol, and sometimes they can even show you 2-methyl propane 2-ol, isodium this thing, and then they can say you this butane 2-ol. So these are the types of questions that can be made. Like, it's simple, ethanol is what, 1 degree alcohol, so you can make the structure and check. So ethanol is 1 degree alcohol, so simple, we'll use formaldehyde. Then for propane 2-ol, it is 2 degree alcohol, we'll use aldehyde, any of the aldehyde except formaldehyde. Then 2-methyl propane 2-ol, for this we will use aldehyde, which is rather than except for that formaldehyde. And then butane 2-ol, what, butane 2-ol is also so this 2-methyl propane 2-ol, this is 3 degree, so we use ketone isodium. This 2-methyl propane 2-ol is 3 degree alcohol, so we use ketone. Now for this butane 2-ol, it is also a type of 2 degree alcohol. Again we can use simply this aldehyde, CH3 CHO, but we know that butane 2-ol is of this structure, so we need CH2 CH3, so we use CH2 CH3. Okay, if you cannot understand this, you can simply use my trick, that this thing we have already, see, O is there, H is gonna add, CH already we have because it is an aldehyde, CH3 will come and add, what is remaining, this thing is remaining, this will come and add, this we already have, H will come and add to O, this CH2 CH3 is remaining, so you write that CH2 CH3 here, okay, on one side of the aldehyde. That's the only trick. Like for propane 2-ol, we have CH3 here instead of the CH2 CH3, so we wrote CH3, simple one. So those were the general methods of preparation. But in industry, the alcohol is prepared by some other process. So there is another process for industrial preparation. Okay, the next reaction which I am going to tell you, It's pretty much confusing, and I guess it can confuse you with the previous reactions. Okay, so if you cannot understand this reaction, simply mug this thing up, because this oxo process, the first one is oxo process. This oxo process is very important. Okay, very important. Not as much important as the Grignard's reagent, but it is very important for 1 marks. Usually this question is not asked. Okay, but if this question is asked, this is type of easy but confusing, so it can be your 1 marks source for your 1 marks. So see, oxo process, it is a process in which the alcohol is prepared in industry. Now simply you just need to understand this, and if you cannot understand, mug this thing up. You need to remember, you use an alkene, you begin from any alkene. So take the simplest alkene. This is alkene, simplest alkene, which is known as ethene. Okay, CH2CH2. So you take any alkene. Now what you do is that you react it with water gas. It is reacted with water gas. Now what is water gas? Water gas means it is a mixture of carbon monoxide plus hydrogen. You must have learned this thing. So it is a mixture of carbon monoxide and hydrogen. Now it is a reaction which requires high pressure and high temperature. So a catalyst is used which is known as dicobalt octacarbonyl. The name is very confusing, dicobalt octacarbonyl. It means dicobalt, CO2, and then octacarbonyl. Carbonyl means, this is small o, okay, cobalt, CO2, and then carbonyl means capital C, capital O8. So this is the catalyst, CO2, CO8. So this is the catalyst we are using. Now what happens is that this bond gets broken. So CH2, if the bond is broken, it will be CH2. Now what happens is that we know that this is CO plus H2. It means CO plus H plus H. So this COH, it comes and attacks this, H comes and attacks this. So it becomes CH3, CH2, CHO. Simple. One hydrogen is attacking this, and this, and the entire thing is attacking this part. It means it is not actually attacking, it comes and adds. It's a type of addition reaction. CH3, CH2, CHO. It means an aldehyde is formed. CHO means aldehyde is formed. Now what happens on further reduction, like you reduce in the presence of hydrogen, isn't it? Hydrogen and nickel, simply hydrogen, you reduce it in presence of hydrogen. So what will happen, this H will come and attack this. So CH3, CH2, CHO, and H is coming. So in this way alcohol is prepared. Now I know this reaction is confusing. Now if it's up to you, if you don't want to remember this, it's your wish, not necessary. Okay, if this reaction is making you confused from the previous reactions, or you can forget the other reactions if if you give your time to this and use your mind in this, then it's not necessary. But this oxo process is a term which can be asked frequently, like it's a 50-50 chance. Okay, so if you want to take the chance, leave it. But still, if you want to learn this reaction, it's very simple. Okay, just the thing is confusing, and you need to remember when we are using what. Like we begin from ethene, you can use any ethene. Let's use CH2. So what we do, we do it with water gas, CO plus H2. And if you're getting confused, you just write like this, CO plus H plus H. Okay, this is water gas. We do it in the presence of cobalt, and this actually dicobalt octacarbonyl. Dicobalt octacarbonyl, CO2, CO8. That's the thing. If you can remember, then okay. If you can't, it's not a big deal. So what will happen? This bond is broken, CH2. It means single bond is there in between them. So I'm not showing. So this COH will attack one part, hydrogen will come and attack one part. So if it is a CH3, and then it will, hydrogen is attacking one part, so CH3, and another CHO. And then what will happen on further reduction with hydrogen, CH3, CH2, CHO, and H will come and attack, so CHOH. In this way alcohol is prepared, which is known as propanol, because the CH3, CH2, CHOH, it is propanol. So this is oxo process. Again, if you want to remember, you can. If it is making you confused, leave it. But those two important reactions are must to remember, those from haloalkanes and mainly from Grignard's reagent. Okay, this Grignard's reagent being treated with aldehyde or ketone, and that haloalkane, simply haloalkane being treated with any of KOH or NaOH. Just OH comes and replaces X. So these were the things about the preparation of alcohol, both the general methods and the industrial preparation. So after this we obviously go for the physical and chemical properties. Okay, usually we do not give much time to physical properties, isn't it? But here in this alcohol, one question can be asked in physical properties, so I'm telling you about this physical properties. Like, it is asked from the solubility. Now the question can be in this way, like why are alcohols more soluble in water than ether? Like, alcohol is more soluble in water than ether. So why is it so? Because see, this is the structure of alcohol, ROH. So whenever it reacts with water is H2O. It means this is H2O. So this O and this H, it forms a bond between them, which is known as hydrogen bonding. So this hydrogen bonding, even more alcohol is there. See, this is alcohol, just the way is different. So in this way, hydrogen bonding is there between oxygen of this alcohol and hydrogen of the water. So due to this hydrogen bonding, the solubility increases, because we know that if the hydrogen bond is being formed between any of the two molecules, then they become bonded, and due to this they are more soluble. So any substance to be soluble in water, it needs to form hydrogen bond with water. So ether doesn't form hydrogen bond with water, but this alcohol does. Why doesn't ether form? Ether is this, ether means this O, and here it can be CH3. There is no, actually it also has O, and it can form, like, see, HOH, it can form. But the thing here is that CH3, it is a type of water repelling group. Like this CH3, it repels water. Okay, it acts in oppose of this hydrogen bonding, isn't it? And this ether, it has two alkyl groups. It can be any, let's represent it by R. So two alkyl groups are there, and two alkyl groups are two water repelling groups, and it is water repelling group. It means that this bonding will be weaker because it is repelling the water. So if it is repelling, distance will be increased, and then bonding will be weaker. So due to this, proper hydrogen bonding is not formed in ether. Whereas in alcohol, only one alkyl group is there, another one is hydrogen. Two alkyl groups are not present there, as in the case of ether. So alcohol forms hydrogen bonding with water more easily than ether, and that's the reason alcohol is more soluble in water. Simply wherever this is asked, like why it is more soluble, then the concept is about the hydrogen bonding. So if it is asked like this, alcohol is more soluble in water than the ether, sometimes it is asked. In 2016 it was asked in this way, like, alcohol of low molecular weight is more soluble in water, whereas ether of the same molecular weight is not. Why? So you see that in this case you have to give answer in this way. Like, first of all, you make this structure. This is alcohol, we know, but in this case we make in this way, so that we can show this bonding. Okay, so more alcohol you can show, even one you can show, more you can show if you want. O, and then obviously H will be here. So in this way, see, hydrogen bonding is there, oxygen, hydrogen, oxygen, hydrogen. So this hydrogen bonding is there, and then you can write that due to this hydrogen bonding, it is more soluble in water, whereas in the case of ethers, you see, ether is in this way. In the case of ether, this one, H, yeah, in case of this ether, this hydrogen bonding is there, but the two alkyl group which act as a water repelling group, you call it water repelling group. So it acts as water repelling group. Due to this, it is less, and due to this, hydrogen bonding becomes weaker, and it is less soluble in water. And one fun fact here, that this is simply an alcohol, isn't it? It is forming hydrogen bond with water. It's forming hydrogen bonding with water. But now, as the size of the alcohol increases, it means as the molecular mass of the alcohol increases, like this CH3OH, and then CH2, yeah, CH3, and then it can be CH CH3CH2OH, and then it can be CH3CH2 CH2OH. In this way, as the molecular weight is getting increased, the alkyl group is getting bigger, and as the alkyl group gets bigger, it becomes more water repelling group. So as the molecular weight and the size of the alcohol goes on increasing, it goes on becoming less soluble in water. So the most soluble is this methanol, and then the soluble is ethanol, and then propanol. So in this way, as the molecular weight goes on increasing, the solubility goes on decreasing. When this question can be asked, like why the alcohol having low molecular weight is more soluble in water than alcohol having high molecular weight. So this answer is simple, like this alkyl group is water repelling group. As the alkyl group gets bigger in with the increase in the molecular weight of the alcohol, the hydrogen bond becomes more weaker, and that's the reason why the less molecular weight alcohol is more soluble in water. So those were about the physical properties, basically solubility. Okay, so let's skip this one. So today we learned about the basics like nomenclature, then about the classification, and among the nomenclature I told you that tertiary butyl alcohol and the glycerol are the most important ones. Okay, and then we learned about the general methods of preparation. In the general methods of preparation, I told you only two of them are important. One is from haloalkanes. Haloalkanes, one is very easy, simply RX. We react with any of the OH containing group like NaOH or KOH. This OH replaces X, simple. And from Grignard's reagent, which is one of the most important questions again, and this entire chapter we use this Grignard's reagent. Like this question can be asked in number of ways. I showed you the number of ways, isn't it? And then these were the methods of general preparation, like in laboratory. Then the final one was industrial preparation. In industrial preparation, oxo process. Once again, I'm telling you, oxo process is Jorvis. If you want to remember, it's okay. If you do not remember, it won't hamper you much, but like obviously it will come in options. So if you have practiced this question, it will be your assured 1 marks. If you haven't, you can go for the other questions. So it's your wish. Only you have to remember the compounds which we are using here. Like we begin from alkene. I told you, we begin from alkene. We use the water gas. Water gas means CO plus H2, and what happens is that this bond gas, we do it in presence of dicobalt. Octacarbonyl means CO2 CO folate. Okay, if you can remember them, right? What happens is this CH2 bond gets broken, and one hydrogen goes and attacks this part, and the other remaining part CO, and then one more hydrogen which is remaining attaches to this part. So aldehyde is formed. On further reduction, a reduction happens. You can get confused in that we were treating with water in Grignard's reagent. A reduction is happening, so it's important to remember. What happens, this hydrogen goes and attacks, so it will become CH2 CH3CH2 CHO, and hydrogen comes and attacks, so it is CHOH. In this way alcohol is prepared. So it was oxo process, and finally we learned why it is about the solubility, the physical property. So let's skip this much for today. In the next video we'll learn about the chemical properties, the important chemical properties. Then we'll learn about iodoform test, which is very important, iodoform test. And then a very important question which is more important than the Grignard's reagent. It is distinction by Victor-Meyer's method. This Victor-Meyer's method is very easy. You usually see that Grignard's reagent was important, but it was so easy. Distinction of Victor-Meyer's method for 1 degree, 2 degree and 3 degree alcohol. Even this is very important, but this is very easy. And this iodoform, basically iodoform test is a laboratory test for alcohol. Like we test in laboratory whether the alcohol has come or not. So for that we use iodoform test. And finally we'll learn about the ethyl alcohol. We need to learn about ethyl alcohol in detail, like the fermentation. Fermentation means it is the process by which ethyl alcohol is prepared. Okay, so we'll learn about the preparation, actually the industrial preparation of ethyl alcohol by fermentation process. So these are the 4 topics we're going to cover in the next video, and hope so we cover some part of phenol as well, which are the important questions of this alcohol. probably iodoform test, and then distinction and ethyl alcohol. These three. Obviously, chemical property is important, but there are some subtopics which are more important. I'll tell you about that in the next video. For now, that's all for today. Now wait till the part 2. Till then, take care. Goodbye.